Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we got some severe weather to talk about the next few days. Plus, we also have a lot of flooding to talk about too as well, and we'll also be going over the tropics in the middle of this video, as we do have a potential system developing in probably about 2 weeks, because there's a low chance of it developing in the next 7 days, but since we are heading still a little bit far out from the system, this will probably develop sometime next week, so we will need to be watching that system in the Atlantic Ocean very closely. But right now we are having a kind of a severe weather event across portions here of the Midwest heading into the western Ohio Valley. This is a level 2 out of 5 threat, which is a slight risk for severe weather, and then around that we do have a marginal risk. So if you do live in the slight risk, which is this yellow area, which includes eastern Nebraska, eastern Kansas, southern Iowa, back into a pretty good portion there of Missouri, into central and southern Illinois, and as well as most of Indiana, and as well as southwest Michigan, all included in this yellow color. What we're concerned about just a little bit is maybe the potential for just a few isolated spin-up tornadoes. The good news about this is that, one, it's not very widespread, so not very many people have to be weather aware about tornadoes today. This could change because the Storm Prediction Center will do another update in about an hour from now. But we could also be talking the potential for some widespread damaging winds across this yellow color, and that's the main reason why we do have a slight risk in effect. And then we could be concerned about some large hail also across portions here of Nebraska heading into Iowa. And this hatched risk that you see means that there's a chance of 2 inches in diameter or greater. So if you do live in this hail threat, especially this black area that have those black drops or spikes going through, make sure to be aware of 2-inch hail or greater, which means put your cars into your vehicles, secure your objects, and you can even protect your objects if you want to as well. So make sure to do that if you do live in this large hail threat, but also be aware about a few tornadoes as well, because that hail threat does include the same area. And then most of everyone needs to be aware of damaging winds, and that's the reason why that slight risk is big, is because of the potential for some damaging winds. Let's go ahead and now look at tomorrow's threat. And tomorrow's still does include some of the same areas, especially the lower portion of today's threat. So as you guys can see, we do have a slight risk for severe weather across New England heading into the mid-Atlantic. This does include New York City, which is bad news because New York City is very populated. We do have a 2% risk for tornadoes. You guys in New York City, I would probably be aware of some tornadoes if I were in there, because New York City is very close to that 2% risk for tornadoes. So like I said, if I was in New York City, I would definitely be aware of a few tornadoes. Wind threat, we do need to be watching for some damaging winds. And then hail threat, we do need to also be watching for some large hail too as well. And then like I said, some of the lower part of today's threat will be at risk for tomorrow as well, especially across the lower Ohio Valley heading into more of the Midwest, and even the Arklatex region could be an area to also watch for too as well. But I think our main focus will be over here in the Mid-Atlantic, and then I think we'll also focus a little bit on the lower Ohio Valley too as well for the biggest severe weather potential as we do head into tomorrow. Now, if we look at day 3 threat, okay, that will be after tomorrow. This is pretty much Thursday into Friday. We do have another slight risk we do need to worry about, which does include eastern Montana, western North Dakota, and as well as western South South Dakota. This doesn't have the hazards yet, but there will likely be a 15% risk for large hail and damaging winds issued, and I also wouldn't rule out maybe a little bit higher of a tornado threat too as well. So that's something we are going to be watching for as we do head into Thursday. Now, let's go ahead and look at the flood threats. So for today, as you can see, we do need to be watching for more flash flooding across southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa, heading into western Wisconsin. The reason why they still have a flood threat is because more rainfall appears possible, and there's actually flooding still ongoing in parts of that area. So that's the reason why they're very well concerned about some more flash flooding ongoing, so that will be something to keep an eye on there. And then it is monsoon season, so this area could get some heavy rainfall at times today, especially over here towards Tucson, Arizona, and I'm pretty sure that's how you say that. So we do need to be watching this area down here in southeast Arizona very closely today, so be aware of flooding down here as well. And now, if we look at tomorrow's threat, as you can see for tomorrow, we do have a risk for flash flooding across the Four Corners region again, but we also do still have that slight risk for flash flooding ongoing still across parts here of the Midwest, heading from northeast Kansas all the way up into central Illinois. Day 3, that kind of does shift off to the southeast, and that's because we have the severe weather threat more for this area, as you can see. So some flooding still appears possible, especially in the areas that don't have as high as a severe weather threat, which includes Wednesday. So it will be from Wednesday into Thursday. Day 4, that goes right back out to the west, and we actually do have a risk for flash flooding across western Colorado, northern Mexico, and a little bit of southern Wyoming. And then over here we do have a risk for flash flooding across some of this area. And then day 5, that does shift off to the east. Now, let's go ahead and look at the tropics. Like I said, this is kind of expected to move into the area that Tropical Storm Alberto formed in. And like I said, this only has a 20% chance of developing in the next 7 days. So that's why I'm saying it's probably going to develop sometime at the end of next week, because that's a little over 7 days out. So it kind of remains a little bit uncertain on how this will exactly play out. From what I can tell, I do think this could maybe change its path a little bit, but probably not. I actually kind of agree on this path a little bit better on what the National Hurricane Center is showing. So please be weather aware if you do live in southern Texas or even northern Mexico. This is the area I want people to watch the system very closely in. So like I said, make sure you're watching the system closely in southern Texas and as well as northern Mexico. So make sure you are watching for at least a tropical depression. But since Alberto was able to form in this area, a tropical storm also appears quite possible. And then let's check on the Eastern Pacific, and as you can see, nothing has formed in the Eastern Pacific yet, even though this is the time of year where we usually see the Eastern Pacific a little bit more active compared to the Atlantic. But let's go ahead and look at the total rainfall. This from now all the way to July 5th, which does include the 4th of July, by the way. And as you can see, we do need to be watching for some more rainfall across parts here of the Midwest, heading up towards the Ohio Valley and all the way up into the Northeast. This is the area I'm most concerned about for flash flooding. So whether you're in a marginal or slight risk, you could certainly see some flash flooding in some areas depending on how many storms that that you get. And like I said, we are concerned about maybe a potential system ongoing kind of like that, and the European Mall actually kind of agrees with that from what I'm seeing right there. So we do need to be watching very closely for the potential of a tropical storm or a depression moving on shore. And then areas in between, like this area right here, could get a little bit of rainfall, but it doesn't really look like it, and then areas like this area back into this area look to stay almost completely dry. So pretty dry for those areas, but we're mainly focusing on those areas up here, as you can see. So yeah, we will need to be watching for that. Last but not least, let's look at some future severe weather. And it does make sense that we could see some severe weather up here towards Minnesota, Wisconsin, and northern Iowa, as today's threat does include those areas, but especially includes areas down here. As we continue to take this forward, we might see some isolated severe weather develop as we do head into Wednesday, and that's what's pretty much being shown with the GFS model. Doesn't really show a ton of a lot of energy over here, but that's not really the model we like to look at. We like to look at the HRRR model. The reason why I'm looking at this one is because this one does a lot better as you look farther into the future. But as we continue to take this forward, as you can see, some more severe weather possible as we do head into Saturday. That's actually a day we are going to be watching closely for. And then after that, we might need to be watching for some more widespread severe weather events like this one, which will be sometime next week. And then after that, it remains very uncertain. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I didn't make a video yesterday because I wasn't feeling good. I actually do feel a lot better today, but I'm still coughing a little bit though, and I do still have a little bit of a runny nose. But I tried the best that I could to try to make a video today to try to keep you guys updated. So I do apologize for coughing or even sneezing during the video. So if you guys, want to see more of my videos, make sure to like and as well as push that subscribe button especially. But I tried the best I could to make a video today, so that way you guys could stay updated, and we would certainly, continue to watch the wire closely as we continue to head into the future.